Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're going to be talking about murders at Karlov Manor, and this is probably going to be one of my weirdest videos. I don't know. This is going to be potentially one of the videos that people are going to disagree with, but I wanted to kind of talk about this because I think this set is secretly a commander set, which is, probably, a little bit out there. But I think that this set just has so much stuff in it for Commander and so much for so many different types of archetypes in Commander, stuff that's going to synergize so well with older cards that, haven't been around for a while or have fallen out of the meta and stuff, that I think that, honestly, I'm happy to kind of call this a more Commander-ish kind of set. Obviously, there's going to be, it's going to be good for standard. It's going to be good for, other game modes as well. But I think that, honestly, Commander is going to get a lot of stuff out of this. Now, I'm going to go through each of the cards and I'm going to talk about, I'm also going to talk about the mechanics a little bit as well, because I think the mechanics kind of help set the scene for this. But before we get into that, make sure you do subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers at the moment. Once we hit 1,000, we're going to do a giveaway. If we can hit 1,000 before Murders at Karlov Manor comes out, I'm going to potentially give away like a Murders at Karlov Manor precon. I don't know, something like that, like a cool precon or something. Let me know what you guys want me to give away. So first of all, we're going to talk about the mechanics and why I think that the mechanics kind of lean towards being great in Commander. So the first one here is Disguise as well as Cloak. Both of these two are going to create you a whole bunch of face down creatures with ward and stuff. Now, these are going to synergize really well with any cards that synergize well with Morph, or any of the stuff that kind of synergize well with like face down cards like Ujin's Mastery, for example. Like if you have a look at Ujin's Mastery here, this card here, whenever you attack with creatures with power 6 or less, can I bring it up larger? 1 second. Here we go. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you get to manifest the top card of your library. So, you're going to be able to automatically put those cards face down. And then whenever you attack with creatures with total 6 power or greater, you may turn a face down creature you control face up. So this is going to be synergized really, really well with that. And again, this is something that's going to be great for Commander because of, that's it's a CMM card. It's from Commander Masters, and same with Cloak there. Investigate as well is going to be huge for Commander. Clues, traditionally, from my experience myself, clues haven't been a huge thing that I've kind of looked for, but now there's going to be a lot more synergies with clues. It's kind of like how they kind of, from what I can gather, kind of revamped food tokens around like the Lord of the Rings set and around Wilds of Eldraine. This is kind of revamping a whole bunch of stuff around clues and investigate and stuff along those lines. Suspect as well. Goading. Suspect, like having the suspect all around, being able to create menacing things that can't block, and then being able to goad them as well with the precon is going to be great. Collecting evidence, I think, is huge for Commander because of the fact that you're going to have a lot of stuff in your graveyard. You're more likely to have stuff in your graveyard that you're going to be able to collect evidence with and be able to utilize some of these cards that when you initially drew them, they're not going to be great, but then later on they're going to be better. Cases as well, another type of enchantment, is going to be really cool and really interesting. Some of these things are going to be really easy to be able to achieve, especially in Commander, and I think that having those is going to be great. Honestly, I think that the mechanics overall are just really great for basically based around a lot of different Commander decks. So some of the cards have been revealed so far. There's been a lot of cards revealed so far. I've kind of chosen some that I think are more of the Commander set, but honestly, a lot of them, like even if you look at the new Ezreal here, looks very interesting and could be really useful in Commander. There's some that obviously aren't going to be because they're just outclassed by previous cards that have come out or something like that. But even like this Hunted Bone Brute here and stuff, can do some really interesting things in Commander. So let's see. So first of all, the first big one here is going to be these lands. So these are a new type of lands, Surveil lands. However, there's a couple different things we've got to note here. First of all, they are dual colored. They enter tapped, so that's fine. However, this part here, they are swamp forest. They have the actual basic land types, which means you can go search them out with all of the different different cards that search out the, search out your swamps, search out your forests, search out, etc. They aren't obviously basic lands, but you can search them with those. You also get to surveil, so you get to, look at your deck, look at the top card, choose to put it in your graveyard or not. Up to you, but there's a lot of cards that kind of can utilize the graveyard, especially in Commander. I think that these lands are going to be huge. Unfortunately, entering tapped isn't too great, but the fact, again, you can search them out, the fact they surveil is really good. We've got War Leader's Call here, like an upgraded / combined version of, putting out +1/+1 onto everything. And Impact Tremors, white, red already runs a whole bunch of different, token strategies and stuff like that. This is going to go into my Karlach Inspiring Leader deck. So there's lots of really cool stuff, and honestly, I think this is going to be a great card in Commander. We've got Tomic Wielder of Law. This is going to be really cool for having an actual commander, so as your commander with Tomic, and then going with Planeswalkers and making like a Super Friends deck around Tomic. This card, they've actually said, is going to be, not going to be balanced enough for you to be able to use it in your pre-release. It is a pre-release card, but you can't actually use it in your pre-release deck. So this is going to be really interesting, and I'd love to see what people build out of this as like a Planeswalker Super Friends group around this with white black. There's lots of really cool stuff that I could potentially see here. Also, it's whenever an opponent attacks the creatures, it's kind of discouraging people to attack you as well. I just looked at this card and instantly I was like, this is going to be really interesting card in Commander. Not for, it'll be decent in not Commander, but like the fact that it's got affinity for Planeswalkers. So far, I think we've only had one Planeswalker revealed for Murder at Call of Mana. Obviously, there's other standard, commanders that are around there, not standard commanders, standard Planeswalkers, but honestly, this just looks like an insanely great card for Commander. We've got Voger, who's going to be a very interesting card. You could have him as a commander for an elf deck or a commander for a wolf deck, or combine them both together. Voger getting his own card rather than just being a token is really cool. He's another pre-release card. He's a little bit on the more expensive side cost-wise, but still, Vigilance, Trample, Ward 3, getting the +1/+1 counters for each. He puts +1/+1 counters on for each elf. So, elf commander and then, wolf commander. There's lots of really cool stuff you could potentially do with Voger here. We've got Clank Baron of Tin Street. There are so many things you could potentially do with this. So many synergies you could potentially run with it. I'm going to be very interested to see what people run with him. We've got Crime Novelist. I had a look, so I might do a full video on this website. People were covering it. I think it was EDH Rec was talking about it. I should have done the video before EDH Rec was covering it, but there is a lot of synergies down here with Crime Novelist. There's 3 synergies that they've got already in here that you could just do insane amount of stuff with Crime Novelist, like combos and stuff like that. So it's a very, very great card, and I think that it's going to go very well in so many different commander decks. We've got Case of the Crimson Pulse. So this one here would be insane in so many different decks as well. So you get to discard a card, then draw 2 cards, just for straight up draw 2 cards. If you have no cards in your hand, then at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to discard your hand and then draw 2 cards. It says discard your hand, which is funny. And then draw 2 cards. So you get to draw 2 cards at the start of your upkeep if you manage to get this. There's a lot of cards in Commander that's dump your hand and stuff like that. Especially, or, just running really low powered, not really low powered, really low cost red cards, red aggro cards, and then being able to solve this, and then instantly this part where it's discard your hand is not going to be all that relevant because you're using the cards, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So you get really cool stuff with this. We've got Case of the Locked Hothouse as well. So you can play an extra card on extra land on each of your turns for 4. Once you solve it for having 7 or more lands, which This is Commander. You're going to get 7 more lands pretty quickly. You can then look at the top card of your library. You can play in lands and cast creature and enchantment spells from the top of your library. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, we've got Undergrowth Recon being able to... This one here is really nice. So at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to just return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's not play a land or anything like that. It's not you can play an extra land or anything. So you should be able to play 2 lands per turn with this, as far as I'm aware. So, you know, you're taking 1 from your graveyard, and then you get to play 1 from your hand too. So we've got Case of the Trampled Garden, another great card for any +1/+1 decks. This part here, you get to put +1/+1. That's great. But this part here, you get to put Trample onto it is really, really good. There's lots of, you know, green +1/+1 commanders, lots of green +1/+1 decks, or, you know, just decks that have green in them that have that. So there's lots of really stuff. This here is just like an auto solve as well. Like, you're going to complete that like day 1. Like, third turn, you're probably going to be able to have that easily. We've got Pick Your Poison here. This one here is this is a really great one for Commander too, because for a start, it says each opponent sacrifices an artifact. In Commander, people are going to, you know, come around, they're going to have their Soul Rings out turn 1 or turn 2, and then their mana, you know, their Arcane Signets or whatever. So you just get to be able to make them all sacrifice them. And it's not even you have to sacrifice yours or anything. They just have to sacrifice theirs. We've got Anag. This guy is going to have an insane amount of combos. Is he actually in here yet? He's not showing up as in here yet, which is unfortunate, so I can't show you. But either way, making it so that he gets blocked every turn is going to be crazy. Each time he gets blocked as well, untap each creature you control, and then after this combat phase, there's going to be an additional combat phase. So you can just wipe people out, because it's only making him get blocked. So each time he gets blocked, then, you know, you get to do it. You get to just, you know, wipe someone out or something like that. There's lots of really great combos with this. And look at this stat line, 8/4. You give him a way to give indestructible. It's going to be crazy. As well as the fact he's a legendary. He can literally be your commander too. Archdruid's Charm, I think, is pretty good. Search your library for a creature or land, so you get to tutor. And if it's a land, you get to put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Or you could put a +1/+1 on something, and then it deals damage equal to its power. Or this part here is really nice. Exile Target artifact or enchantment in green as well. We've got Barbed Servitor. I think there's going to be lots of combos with him as well. For a start, he's indestructible. And for a second, whenever he's dealt damage, target opponent loses that much life. If you have a way to just repeatedly deal damage to him, then he's just going to just nuke someone. Slime Against Humanity. Everyone's been talking about this. The EDH subreddit is just full of people being like, yes, I will build deck around this. Yes, I want green. I want slimes everywhere. And Oozes as like a tribal looks really interesting, and I can't wait to see what people build from this. We've got the Pride of Hellclade as well. Hellclade. This guy looks really interesting. I'll be very interested to see what people build around this. For a start, he's a legendary. And, you know, there's that one commander that my brain is blanking on. Let me see. It's going to come up. This guy. Arcades. This is like a Arcades. It's going to go insanely well in Arcades. I'm really happy. We've got to get a leg up. This one looks really interesting. This is a 1 cost, right? 1 cost. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control and gains reach. So the each creature you control is really, really nice. The reach, not as much. Like, you know, if you got trample or something like that, it would be crazy. But, you know, you could potentially turn this into just wiping someone out with commander damage or something. We've got Doppelgang. Again, looking at this. Look at all these combos in here. Doppelgang. Here, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a great amount of combos there. We've got Delny as well. We've got Assemble the Players, and then we've got Win. Oh, what? That's not what meant to be there. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Have a great day. Goodbye.